I'm Ariam, and these are my favorite books that I read in April of 2025. Let's start with my least favorite of my favorites, which is River of Mariposas by Morel Ortega. This is a picture book that, honestly, I just included in here because I was counting, like, I was like, oh, I was like, for every 5 books I read, I'll include one book. So if I read 1 to 5 books, I'll include one favorite book. If I read uh, 6 to 10 books, I'll include two favorite books. So I needed like 4 books. So that's why I included River of Mariposas by Maria Ortega. Like, I don't think it's bad. I definitely enjoyed the book. I thought the illustrations were very pretty. This is a picture book about a girl who really, really, really wants there to be butterflies for her birthday, but there aren't any, so she decides to make paper ones, and then it rains and they get ruined, and there's a kind of fantastical twist ending. And I don't think it's bad at all. I did enjoy it. And I really like the illustrations, especially at the end, and just like how dejected everything looked when uh, they get when all the paper butterflies get wet and how everything turns around. I did really like it. I just wasn't like, oh my god, this is my favorite and I'm thinking about it forever. Now, speaking about picture books, there is a picture book that I'm thinking about forever and ever. This is actually not a picture book for children. This is a picture book for adults, but oh my god, I'm thinking about it forever. And that is Treaty Words for As Long as the Rivers Flow by Amy Kraft and illustrated by Luke Swinson. So So, disclaimer, I actually didn't really like the illustrations in this picture book. I thought they were pretty bland, but I love this picture book so much. So, this is written by by an Anishinaabe woman, Amy Kraft, obviously, and it's about basically how do I even explain what it's about? Okay, so the like surrounding story is we have this grandfather who's teaching his granddaughter about the nature around them. And within that, he's teaching her about their relation to nature and nature relation to them. And he's teaching her about the cycles of nature. And he's teaching her essentially about the treaties between humans and nature, that we have a job to protect nature and nature protects us and nature gives to us and we need to like give back. And I loved it so much. And I thought the afterword was also so, so good. And I also thought it was incredibly interesting. Like, it's definitely not a Jewish perspective, but there were a lot of things that I saw like a Jewish perspective in this story. And this is not the first Anishinaabe book that I've read where I've been like, this is not a Jewish perspective. You can very clearly tell it's an Anishinaabe perspective, but there are a lot of similarities to Judaism. So I found that very interesting as well. But yeah, I just love this book so much, and I think everyone should read it, and it's such a good book. That one I'm thinking of. That's the one that I think I said that. I'm thinking of forever and ever and ever. Then, speaking of books that have fundamentally changed me, I read A Natural History of Dragons by Marie Brennan. And oh my god, this book fundamentally changed me. Before I read this book, I would have said that I, for the most part, did not like historical fantasy. This kicked me off on a historical fantasy kick that I read pretty much historical fantasy this year as I did plain regular historical fiction. So this is the first in a series where that are written as if they are memoirs by Lady Trent, and she basically living in an alternate universe where there are dragons, and this first book tells about her growing up and how she really, really wants to study dragon. That's her dream. Unfortunately, this is the 1820s, and nobody's going to say, okay, girl, your girl, go study dragons. Nobody's even going to be like, yay, for you, go to university. So she gets this opportunity to go study dragons in this world's equivalent of the Russian Empire, and a plot happens there. Honestly, I don't really care about the plot, and this is actually probably my second least or my least favorite book in the series, but oh my god, this book, first of all, I was obsessed with this book from the beginning. Like, even though it's my second least or my least favorite book in the series, this book, I was hooked on it from the instant I read it. That tells you how good the series is, that even though this is like my least favorite book or my second least favorite book, I can't choose between this one and the last one, I was hooked from the second I read it. And listen, I rushed and I just read every other book in the series because I loved it so much. I love Lady Trent. This take a while to start, but I loved her so much. I loved this. Yeah, this is such a good series. And lastly, for my favorite books that I read in April, I also read Noteworthy by Riley Redgate. This is actually a realistic fiction about our main character, Jordan, I believe her name is, who is on scholarship uh, to a music boarding school, a music boarding high school. And that's basically all she's wanted to do with her life. However, she is an alto, and so she keeps on not getting chosen to be part of anything because there aren't really that many alto parts for girls. And she's in danger of losing her scholarship because of this. So she decides she's gonna dress up as a boy and join a boys' a cappella group as a tenor. And she succeeds, and the story goes from there. And one of the things I most liked about this book was how it talks about gender and gender expectations that saying that are a certain thing and men are a certain thing doesn't only hurt women but also hurts men, and she really experiences that from the other side. It's very suddenly, and I really liked also how she talked about how she felt a lot of freedom suddenly, but then she also felt also these things, and the romance in it was not insta love, and it wasn't totally messed up. It didn't have a miscommunication trope, and I really, really like this book a lot. One of my favorite realistic fiction books ever, especially considering it's YA, and I've mostly grown out of YA. So that is just great.